I grew up in church. I was there every Sunday, and I've been a Christian since I was a kid.
I grew up in church, and I got pieces of the gospel over 50 years.
Oh, my 20-something years of going to church, I never remember hearing the word grace.
I viewed God as somebody that I needed to make happy. He wasn't so concerned with me as a person as much as he was concerned with if I was being a good person or a bad person.
I never really saw God's love as a unconditional, everlasting love.
I always believed in God, but, I didn't think he believed in me. That wasn't good enough.
There are people that are sitting in front of you that have been in church their whole lives. They've read the Bible, they went to youth camp growing up, vacation Bible school. They've been in church, wired in church their whole lives. But there's also people sitting out there that have no church background whatsoever and have seen enough people with church backgrounds to feel like they have no need for what's being taught at or what's being proclaimed at churches. And one of the things we've learned is that you can grow up in church and be just as confused about what the gospel is or isn't as the person who has no church background and who has never been to church. My hope is that in understanding really the size of the gospel and the weight of the gospel, you wouldn't miss out on all that Christ has for you in his life, death, and resurrection. And the gospel is way bigger than just, I believe this so I'm saved, but that the gospel bears weight on transforming our lives and increasing our joy and changing how we see the world around us.
I don't know if it was a new message or it was a message I'd heard 1,000 times, but I just heard it.
Now the gospel is not only something that has saved me, but is changing me as well.
He opened my heart, and I got to hear the word like I'd never heard it before.
It was the best news I'd ever heard. It was no longer about me attaining God's favor. It had been granted through Christ, and that was life-changing for me.